Welcome to Marukyu, the world's greatest scientific bait company. I believe that Marukyu baits are the very best, but to achieve consistent results you need to know how to use these baits. This section is all about our softie pellets. We've got two types of softies, both in 10mm, two different flavours, the protein and the nori. If you want to be species specific, the nori baits are unbelievable. If you want to target tench and bream as well as carp, always use nori. If you want to be more species specific, just concentrating on the carp, then of course use the protein. The difference is dramatic. But how do we use these baits? At first glance, they'll look like boilie paste, but you couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, these are quite complex, over 30 main ingredients in here, but the big difference is that they'll work at all temperatures. These are also temperature specific, high temperatures, low temperatures, but if you can visually see how they work, you'll understand why they'll catch so many fish. Our softies are really easy to use, and because they're softies, you can make them any size you like. So although it's a 10mm piece, if I only wanted to use a bit half that size, I break it off and it's half that size. Again, if I wanted a big bait, I could join two together. But what's the best way to use them? Well, I find this simple way is the best way. I've got a 10mm here, I've got a hook with a bait band on, typical method that I use for my pellet fishing. And all I'm going to do is squeeze it around the bait band, just as simple as that. I always like to fish these baits on a hair rig style, so obviously what I've got here is a very, very simple, effective hair rig. And what I'm going to do is drop him into the water and we'll just watch what happens. If you look very, very closely, the first thing you're going to see is the water-soluble attractants that are starting to fall out of this bait. Already, and it's only been in the water a few seconds, we can start to see bigger particles. So this is not a dead bait laying there on the bottom. It's an active bait that really is going to draw these fish into it. The other thing is, I mentioned this, it's cold water specific. Typical boilie paste is pretty well inert when the temperatures get really low. This will keep on working at the very, very low temperatures, but you can see it is simple to use, and you can see if you look really closely why it's working. And of course it's very, very easy to use, and that's why I say a band, you can put him onto a hair rig, very, very simple. You can put it onto a hook. If you're going to put him onto a hook, just side hook it so the point's sticking out. But absolutely a devastating bait. Marukyu Softies are very, very versatile. I'm going to give you a top tip. I caught a lot of fish last year using these Marukyu Softies, but what I did was actually wrap them around a mini boilie. On these very, very windy days, this can be absolutely deadly when you're not sure whether your bait's going to be there or not. Typically I'd use a small boilie, 10mm, but it just shows how versatile. I can just get my softie and I can wrap it round. Now I get the best of both worlds. I've got a boilie, it's a Marukyu boilie, which I'll explain about how the flavours and the attractants come out, and I've got the softie on the top. Actual fact, I get almost a double whammy effect. Immediately this goes in the water, the flavour release is astronomical. So it's a very, very, very fast acting bait. But if I need to leave it on a long time, if I was specimen hunting, this would be my next best shot, because what I've got is an instant attractant and then the slow release from the boilies. It's a little tip, but trust me, it will catch you a lot of fish.